It's a fundraiser! Commodore! We're doing a charity fundraiser for the P-Flag, Commodore! Commodore!
Commodore! I know!
Well, sorry this was the last video of the month, man. I wanted to make it fun. I was just trying to drum up one final round of support, hence why I brought Catherine in. Guess that you, Mr. Commodore, are not loved, wanted, or got this, unlike everybody else. Now on with the video.
Here's the plan. Why is no one huddling with me? Is it because I've been chewing on salami like it's gum? Alright, I'm coming over there.
Before you watch the video, I need you to comment down below your favorite type of egg. Doesn't matter which, doesn't matter how it's served, just your favorite type of egg. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about American Dad. Or more specifically, Roger and Steve. Today's subject is all about eggs. Eggs, 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 da-da-da-da-da. Eggs! As I find Easter to be a holiday that is both religious and slowly becoming more secular, hence why I did 2 videos this year, rather than 1. Eggs are awesome sauce. We all come from eggs, and we get plenty of nutrients from eggs. Eggs provide many purposes, like candies, or containers for stuff, or arts and crafts, but there are some people out there who like to pervert eggs for their own selfish reasons, and American Dad made an episode on it. So let's discuss. One morning, Steve and Roger are bird watching at the park. Has anybody actually done that? Bird watching, I mean. I've seen people do it in fiction, but never in real life. If you do, more power to you. But it's not something I can really do in Nork, what with our main birds being pigeons, seagulls, and caw crows that only seem to squawk whenever I do a video. I think I saw a cardinal once. Unlike me, Roger and Steve find a variety of birds, mostly common-breasted brown birds.
You think that's cool? Check your 6. 2 common brown-breasted brown birds.
And coming in slow from the east, 8 more CBBBs!
Yeah, I'm stealing that. It's so cute. But they also find other stuff, or at least Steve does.
And a Russian spy satellite falling through the atmosphere! It struck a blimp! The blimp is out of control! The blimp is careening towards the power plant!
Steve, who cares about that? It's not a bird, unlike Adam from Hazbin Hotel. Plus, that could be its own episode. Actually, I think it kinda was in the earlier seasons, and with Stan's enemy, Sergey. Wonder what happened to him. During this time, they also find a dude stealing an egg. And in typical American Dad fashion, it's not a normal thief with a black shirt and a ski mask, because he's not skiing. It's an old-fashioned dude who looks like he went to Oxford and it puked all over him, complete with a matching car.
What the? Is that man stealing those bird eggs?
Quick, we have to follow him!
Bangers and mash, yo. They try to follow him and it leads to a gated mansion and a bunch of other similar bangers and mashers, complete with their own eggs. Ew, you don't think to disinfect them? You don't know where they've been. They try to go to the police station, but stealing a bird egg isn't a big deal to them.
We saw a man steal a bird egg.
Get the out of here! Are you crazy? Get the out!
Which actually made me wonder, and if you might have guessed, I did some research. Actually, it's illegal, as in super illegal. I'm not telling you guys to do this, it's just wow. In 1918, the federal government passed the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, which prohibits, among other things, stealing eggs from over 1,000 migratory birds between Canada and the USA, especially if they're threatened, near threatened, or endangered. There are obvious exceptions like bird eagles and Native American communities, but this law ensured that any egg collectors had to comply with the federal government and hand their egg collections over to museums or colleges. While it does depend on the bird and who you are, again, some Native American tribes are allowed to hunt bald eagles or allowed to hunt eagles despite them being banned. I found an article by ABC New York that said that a man destroyed 2 bird nests belonging to piping plovers, which are considered near-threatened, and he also stole 4 eggs from them. And as it turns out, it's not just a state crime. Well, I mean, you know what I mean. It's a federal crime, with a $25,000 fine and 6 months in jail per each stolen egg, aka the maximum sentence would be 2 years behind bars. So yeah, maybe don't steal eggs. I wonder what happened to him. At the police station, they learned from the lady that Steve paid to sleep with Lisa Silver's teddy bear that if they have any questions about birds, they should go to Groff Community College and talk to Professor Elizabeth Hadley. She's the head of the oology department.
She helped me identify a strange egg I found on the bus. It was a Cadbury egg.
Thank you. You've been a very helpful prostitute.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is her first appearance. Also, she's voiced by Laurie Metcalf. Fun fact, I love Laurie Metcalf. Then we get the subplot, which is one of my favorites in recent years, if not all time. Francine is doing some coupon clipping with Klaus, an enjoyable pastime for me when I was like 10, and finds a coupon for Bon Giovanni brand zesty Italian sauce, which, hey, at least it's $1 off. Hey, that rhymes. Because it turns out Francine is a pleb. She doesn't make her own sauce. She simply buys a can and slaps it onto the noodles without actually adding anything to them or mixing them up. At least they have a pasta claw. I mean, y'all know I value the Italian side of me. I totally know how to make spaghetti sauce. I don't rely on my parents to do it for me. I mean, they're totally not the ones who make the spaghetti you guys see in all my posts. But gatekeeping aside, as that was all jokes, Stan objects to her buying a new sauce, which I totally understand. Spaghetti sauce is, in a lot of ways, kinda like drugs. Once you get hooked on one, it's hard to change recipes or move on. Hey, that rhymes. A lot of rhyming in this video. I wonder what Francine makes with her spaghetti sauce to make it so popular.
But I like your old sauce, with the ketchup and the apple slices.
Ew, no, ew, that is gross. No, ew, you're buying the sauce. Do people actually do that in real life? It reminds me of the Honey Boo Boo Sketty from South Park. Despite Stan's complaints, Francine decides to try the sauce. But we will have to wait to see the results. At Groff Community College, they meet with Elizabeth, and she says that the dude is a real criminal named the Commodore.
It's good you came to me. The man you saw is Commodore Francis Stote. He leads a secret society of hoarders who illegally collect endangered bird eggs.
Wait, isn't a Commodore like a kind of bird? If so, that's really clever. But to be fair, he has a real name, but I'm not saying all of it. So yeah, he's gonna be the Commodore this whole video. And Roger constantly calls him the Commodore, so I'm in the clear. Elizabeth says that he's a member of the Order of the Hand and Nest, who illegally collect endangered bird eggs.
People collect eggs?
Yes! Time to talk about oology. As it turns out, again, I did research, oology is a real thing. It doesn't just mean studying eggs and birds, it could also mean collecting eggs. As we already established, egg stealing is 9 times out of 10 super illegal in the States, and apparently also in the UK, which very much surprised me. But over there, it's more of an underground practice, provided you don't have a permit. I did some research, and apparently there was one guy who fell to his death trying to steal a bird egg, and before that, he was convicted 6 times for stealing them. Heck, one guy had a collection of over 5,000 different eggs, and when he was sent to prison, he had to give them to a museum, on top of getting 18 weeks in prison and a 10-year CBO, which, is that like probation? Now this actually surprised me, because I was under the impression it was legal in the UK. I was gonna go on a whole rant about how, hey, maybe American Dad could touch on this, or whatever, but no, it's super illegal. Just a bigger deal over there. Still, this was very interesting to learn.
My cousin Ira collects the panties of the different women he slept with. Isn't that dirty? I think it's so dirty. Do you think that's a good idea for a cousin, Steve?
Would Ira be you, or would it be like Frankie? Elizabeth shows Steve and Roger her collection of bird eggs, hidden from the Order of the Hand and Nest, sort of.
They're always trying to sneak in here. Just ask our air conditioning repairman. He knows. Hey, you're not our air conditioning repairman. That's our air conditioning repairman.
Ha-ha!
Oof, but dang lady, you got a lot of eggs. Steve wonders what's the big deal about the eggs and why they're so valuable, because like an idiot, he refuses to listen to my ugly videos. Hadley has her own reasons for being so, like, revenant, like she worships eggs, that's my point.
Nature's most elegant structure. In here, all life begins and all life ends. I believe we go back into an egg when we die.
That's pretty noble, Elizabeth. Sucks we can't see human eggs with the naked eye. I've always wondered what they felt like. Like, is it squishy like a beach ball? Or is it more like an Orbeez? However, Elizabeth warns that there's such a thing as egg madness, kind of like space madness, where you become so obsessed with eggs and obtaining them that you basically turn into Gollum from Lord of the Rings, or Roger during that one episode with the pizza place. Good thing I know I don't have egg madness, because why the heck are eggs so much money at the store? It's like $12 at the corner store by my house. It's gonna ruin my cost-effective breakfast for dinner nights.
The more we're around eggs, the more we're likely to snap.
Yeah, no comment, but maybe this explains the Instagram egg. A golden egg on a perfectly white background. It could be mine. What's inside of it? Money? Candy? The meaning of life? My dad's saying that he's proud of me and coming home with the cigarettes and the milk he promised? What? Steve doesn't understand the obsession because, like his mother, he's a pleb. But Roger takes to it like a duck to water. Pun not intended.
I don't get how I ever lived without these wonderful, wonderful eggs!
Son of a...
I got the egg madness, y'all!
But, I mean, I guess I did make the Golem reference. It is kind of expected. He goes to a meeting to witness the ceremony of the egg getting collected under his new persona, but I will let him do the talking.
St. John St. John, retired maritime lawyer and avid egg collector.
Avid is a similar sounding word to ovum.
Yes, that was the joke.
Why does he remind me of that dude from Victorious? I wonder where he is now. As expected, the Order of the Hand and Nest is obsessed with eggs. Their mansion is decorated with eggs. They eat deviled eggs. Ew, I hate those. And the climax of the meeting is the process of collecting the egg, aka de-yolking.
Let the de-yolking commence.
Yeah, collecting sounds cooler. Where the egg's yolk is removed via an injection and the egg can be properly collected. Of course, Roger wants a front row seat as he has a huge crush on the Commodore, the king of egg collecting.
Oh, well, it still feels like I should be right in front!
And I gotta say, I think Roger has a type. I mean, remember when he had a boy crush on Jack? What's the Commodore if not a nicer version of Jack? The egg they took turns out to belong to a loggerhead shrike. A real bird, oddly enough. Well, this video is really teaching me things. However, the loggerhead shrike is near threatened due to reasons like pesticides and human development. And it has been since the 1960s. So yeah, what they're doing here is definitely illegal. Roger's an accomplice.
The egg is collected.
Dude, that's at least 6 months in jail. But I gotta say, the de-yolking thing kinda reminds me of jewels and gemstones. Maybe it's the eyepiece he's wearing. However, the main point we have to make is that Roger loves eggs and the process of collecting them. And I might be repeating myself, but I really love his fangirling and how it annoys everybody.
Careful. Nice and easy. Slowly. Real careful like.
I know!
Eyes on the egg, don't get distracted.
You know, I think Roger might be one of my many spirit animals. I have enough to open up a zoo. He's me whenever I hyperfixate on anything. At home, Francine introduces the family to the Bon Giovanni brand sauce, and they turn Italian. I'm not spoiling anything, y'all know what happens here. Stan is reluctant to try the spaghetti, but then he tries a little tiny piece, and he likes it. Like that dude from Yo Gabba Gabba. And the spaghetti turns the whole family into Italian stereotypes.
Wow, your parents are so in love.
I'm hearing this from you. You don't know if you're coming or going. Get a job! Oh, so help me, I love this man!
And honestly, I like it. But this isn't the crux of the episode, so I shall put a pin in this Golumki. Actually, Kitty, I think Golumkis are Polish, not Italian. Well, Catherine, then why did my Italian family always try to make me eat it growing up? Back at the egg place, Roger propositions the Commodore, who reacts the same way Fizzarolli does around any of his fans.
Great eggs, everybody!
Did you drive here?
Am I supposed to go? Or are we gonna after party?
You know, I'm surprised Roger understood boundaries in this case. Alicia Wilkner is still a thing. Steve finds him and Roger gushes about how much fun he had with his new friends who likely all think he's a creep who has to go door to door whenever he moves to a new neighborhood.
You should have tapped on the glass. I would have passed you a deviled egg. They were so good. Though I've never had a bad one.
I don't like them. I've always had a bad one. Mostly because I don't know what's in them, and that scares me. Steve tries to implore Roger to stop, and he tries to remind him that the egg collectors are glorified eco-terrorists.
You used to care about birds.
And I still do.
Yes, but don't forget, eggs are where the birds come from.
Who cares about birds?
What? You just said...
And I still do.
You and your double talk, Roger. In response, Steve joins Professor Hadley and her mission and meets the other egg protector volunteers, Tuttle, Hooper, and Buckle.
Your water heater is smoking!
We almost died.
You know, it's cool that Buckle is in more episodes, but I wish we got to see more of his wife Sherry. It's Shari! Whatever her name is. I liked how they loved each other, despite acting like an old married couple. Perhaps Buckle cut her off to devote his time to the egg protectors. Steve does some digging around and discovers the most likeliest location for the order to strike next. A bird presentation on Morning Mimosa.
It's Thursday Birds Day!
Birds Day, of course.
As they have a bunch of eggs for some reason. I have questions, but I guess it makes sense. Mimosas are normally a breakfast food, and I guess eggs go with mimosas? I don't know. The only time I've ever been somewhere with mimosas in the morning was a baby shower, and there were no eggs there.
She might be distressed. She has a nest of eggs backstage.
Backstage. Roger.
Steve goes backstage, and he sees a snake stealing the eggs. Oh, that's nothing out of the ordinary. Holy hell, it's Roger. To think I almost didn't see through his disguise. Me and my stupid glasses.
But there's always next time, Steven.
That is one sexy snake.
Yeah. Wait, what were we doing? Oh yeah. The war of egg collection continues between Roger and Steve, with Steve doing everything in his power to stop Roger, and succeeding. At one point, Roger dresses up like me? Aw, Roger, I'm so flattered. To try and stop Steve, but it's to no avail.
Caught Steve napping.
Are the eggs okay?
Mervyn, I don't think any of these are eggs.
Sorry, Boo. At least you tried. At least you cosplayed as me. That's what's important. At home, the battle continues while the rest of the Smiths continue being Italian. All thanks to the magic of the Bon Giovanni brand sauce. And, okay, let's go back to this. As you might have guessed, I love it. I love Italian parodies because, I hate to say it, but 9 times out of 10, most Italian stereotypes are true. Either you do it or you know somebody else who does it. We all talk with our hands, in fact, I'm doing it right now. We all love pizza, and we are as spicy as meatballs. And if it makes you feel any better, we all hate Jersey Shore, even if we can't escape its sticky grasp. But I do respect them for having a sense of humor, especially Snooki. And one more thing, I really like how Francine dresses, like her Stregonona getup.
Can't you make peace? For Mama, I'm making a big Sunday gravy.
Where's Big Anthony? In a way, she kind of reminds me of my aunt. Even if my aunt doesn't dress up like Stregonona, she makes me spaghetti and calls it gravy, not sauce. There is a difference. And hates when my sister and I, quote unquote, fight, as in just like teasing or making jokes.
You're fighting! It breaks my heart in two!
Even if we make the point, we don't mean anything by it 9 times out of 10. It's just good fun. How dare we be sisters? Wonder how she would react to the constant egg puns, though. Roger leaves to go hang out with the Order and discovers they found a great thing. The mysterious, elusive Sentry Eagle.
Halleatus Centaurus, the Sentry Eagle has returned.
Now, I'm 98% certain that's not a real bird, and I googled it to be sure. Just saying, word alone was a thing, thing, and I didn't know that. I wouldn't be surprised if that was. But actually, fun fact, the first part of the name is the genius for eggs, so that's pretty genius. That was awful. As the Commodore explains, the Century Eagle is located on a mysterious place called Skull Island.
Skull Island? Like where King Kong comes from?
No, Skull Island, like the chewing tobacco.
Is that where the chewing tobacco comes from?
No, they're unrelated.
That's even worse! Imagine King Kong with a nicotine addiction. What makes the Century Eagle so noteworthy is how rare it is. It lays an egg once every 100 years, hence the name. Oddly enough, I'm surprised it can still reproduce, especially from a biology standpoint. Unfortunately, there is a real thorn in their balls. A rotten egg, if you would. Stephen.
I think we should, and hear me out on this, fellas, collect this egg.
But what about the protectors? And this terrifying boy that's galvanized them? He keeps defeating us!
Roger suggests that rather than wait for him to find them and strike, they should be the ones to preemptively stop him, kidnap him before he can do anything.
But what if we got him in the nest?
Come on guys, Roger lives with him. He should know his daily activities and routines and stuff. Or, if anything, he could just lock all the windows and then lock Steve in his room. What's really gonna happen? The Smiths won't care. They've fully assimilated into Italianas. The entire house has been revamped to be Italian. Oh my god, it's Vinny's wet dream. But it does remind me of the many Italian homes I went to as a kid. Like the Italian music, which is the one Italian stereotype I don't adhere to. Sorry, I don't like it no matter how catchy it is. All the photos, the pillows. Granted, there is one thing I'm not really keen on, and that's the picture of the Pope. I've known a lot of Italians who keep crucifixes, or pictures of saints, or figures of the saints. Just saying, my cousins kept a big one behind glass in their front yard. It was like as tall as me when I was like 5. But I never saw a picture of the Pope in anybody's home. Or, hey, maybe it was there and I was too little to know what was going on. However, it seems like they've converted Jeff to their Italian ways, which gives me questions about the spaghetti. Like, how much of it do you have to eat to start to act Italian, or to fall under its spell? Roger only had a couple of bites, and he really didn't do anything out of the ordinary.
The sauce is beautiful, Mama. As good as Grandma's.
You can tell her that up in heaven.
And even that, you could justify it as him simply playing along. And don't use the, oh, he's not human excuse, as Klaus was eating it constantly and he was affected.
Io nuoto un oceano di amore.
Whereas Steve had, just a plate, and he said,
You're killing your mother.
With his own accent. Is he doing what Roger's doing, like playing along or something? But just one more thing. Which grandma are you referring to? Is it the one that gave Francine away so she didn't have to sit and coach? Upstairs, the Order apprehends Steve with a pool thing. I really don't know what it's called. They tie up Steve, and Steve implores his mother for help. I'm sure she'll go full Italiana and break out the big guns to rescue Steve. After all, The Sopranos were filmed in Jersey. You don't mess with us or we'll tax the heck out of you.
You gotta eat something first!
I'm being kidnapped!
If you're getting kidnapped, you gotta eat something first! I'm gonna plate up some spagoot!
Do you want to know why Italian mothers make you eat constantly, even after you're not hungry? It's so you're too fat to leave, and you're forced to permanently stay home and take care of them until you're too old or poor to escape. Because Italians don't move out until they get married, if even then. Hence why we all live within a block radius of one another. It's like the daughter from Like Water for Chocolate, and Granny from Squidbillies. They take a boat to Skull Island, and Steve discovers no one is gonna find him. 1, his family only cares about eating spaghetti. 2, it's in the middle of nowhere. And also, Roger performed enough cavity searches that he could probably fit his hand up Steve and make him talk like a Muppet if he wanted to.
How did you sneak on a walkie-talkie? I did repeated full cavity searches.
It was in my pocket.
What a dirty trick.
Oh, and also, Hadley and the Protectors are busy.
Got your SOS. Not gonna be able to make it, though. Long story short, Tuttle and I are dating. I never in a million years.
Okay, more things. First off, I think this is totally understandable, even if it's just a quick hand wave. The beginning of the episode really made the point that Elizabeth was pretty incompetent as a protector.
It's our goal to thwart the order of— Wait a minute, we don't even have air conditioning! Ha-ha!
And most of their successes came from having Steve on their side. Second, wow, no wonder Tuttle threw that party when Roger disappeared for a year. I mean, maybe he was jealous Roger stole his girlfriend and married her, and he didn't even screw her. Plus, they probably figured that Steve has it all figured out. I mean, come on. Eventually, they make it to Skull Island.
Oh my god, Skull Island! Commodore! It's Skull Island, Commodore! Commodore!
I know!
Wow, Roger is the ultimate fangirl. Has there been a convention episode yet? Like a Comic-Con episode? That would be his ultimate domain. He would be like Seinfeld. They try to find the Century Eagle's nest and go to the top of the island, with Steve as their captive. After all, if they collect the Century Eagle egg, their lives will mean something.
We procure our final egg, and at last complete our collection.
We have all the eggs? Do we have a turkey egg?
Well, what are you gonna do after, just out of curiosity? Which honestly could be a good plot point. Are you gonna donate them all to a museum, sell them, start collecting Fabergé eggs, follow your ultimate passion of holistic glass blowing? However, before they can indulge in their egg madness, the Commodore demands a murder sacrifice.
Full act of murder.
You got it, boss! Yeah!
No!
I like how nobody questions this dude's Steph at any point. Like, I'm sure Steve is probably desensitized to it by this point. Like, yeah, of course Roger would do that. But nobody else knows Roger here and just what he's capable of. No, the Commodore instead meant Steve, as he always interferes with their business and gets in the way.
Oh my god, me?
Wait, what?
We can't risk him interfering like he always does.
Which, okay, that's pretty understandable. I mean, they're villains, I get it. But rather than just shoot Steve or stab him or, you know, throw him off the ledge like they did with that other guy, they decide to collect him and make it a game. Ew, gross. What were they gonna do with his body? Like, put it on display? Were you gonna go after the egg protectors when you finally collected the Century Eagle? Wait, oh my god, were you gonna start collecting people next? That's what I'm saying, like, were you just gonna move on to something else? To properly do the job, they shave his head.
Ah! You need to charge the battery, it's pulling!
Ouch. One of the many reasons I don't shave that much anymore. And when I do, it's normally for a con, so I typically wear pantyhose. Steve, just to put it out there, you are looking like Steve Areno with that haircut. Just don't eat any cats, please. Roger tells them to not dilly-dally, because the egg is right over there, waiting for somebody to pluck it. It's so pretty.
Only I would know the secret song of its shell.
Roger, no! Save me! I'm going to die!
The Order gets ready to murder Steve, and they don't even have the decency to give him a 1, 2, 3. He gets scared. As the job begins, Steve's life flashes before his eyes. And it's Italian. Like, he's an Italian immigrant who went to Ellis Island, grew up in, I'm guessing, the Bronx, and then he sees not die in a fiery explosion likely caused by the mob. I mean, I watched A Bronx Tale too, guys. That was a pretty good play. Now, to be fair, this is weird, but it's a great build-up to a great joke. Even Steve lampshades it.
What the hell is in that sauce?
Agita, this is what we Italians call acid reflux. Our own food gives us acid reflux so much that we made up a word for it. I mean, we don't have time to learn our spaghettis' names every single Sunday. But that is a good question. See, while I like the storyline with Stan and Francine and Haley and Klaus just fine, it really has no resolution. Steve comes home, they're super Italian, he leaves, and that's it, really. They don't go full mafia and free Steve. They don't start to sell the spaghetti. They don't wake up the next morning fine when, say, Francine runs out of the sauce or the store stops selling it. And they don't even explain it, like maybe it was all in their heads, or the Smiths are suffering from agita, or like anything. And like I said, Roger and Steve are barely affected. Sorry, I just have so many questions, but maybe it's just me being my normal nitpicky self. Because cat. Roger retrieves the egg and holy crap, it's freaking huge, like that's the size of a baby. How the hello are you gonna collect that? And Roger knows what he'll do with it.
I'm sorry it's come to this, Steve, but this egg means more to me than anything in the world. Almost.
No! You fool!
Which, yeah, admittedly, this feels weird. He just suddenly makes a whole 360. Like, Roger had no moment where he suddenly felt bad about what he was doing.
Come on, forget Steve. Look at that beautiful egg. How can you wait? Me? Wait, what?
We can't risk him interfering like he always does.
I thought they were gonna reveal something like Roger was doing all of this on purpose, as in he was a double agent, but to be effective, he had to seem effective. Maybe he told Hadley beforehand that Steve was gonna be in no danger, hence why she and the others never showed up. But why was he collecting all of these eggs? Well, everybody knows you break a few eggs to make an omelet, and he did have to sell the ruse, but come on. This is Roger. He didn't just break a few. He collected them, and then he egged Junie Harper's house. But the way it happened was super strange. He didn't switch sides because the Commodore finally said, "Look, Roger, I don't love you," or something like that. Or because Steve emotionally appealed to him. And it's not even in a funny hand-wave kind of way, like, oh, I guess the egg madness wore off. Really weird resolution, guys. By releasing the egg, it rolls down a hill, which, no offense, Roger, you probably killed a whole species, and the Commodore and his men follow, falling to their doom. The day is saved, but unfortunately, Steve gets the egg madness like an STD.
I need it! Oh, great. Now Steve's got the egg madness.
Good thing my prediction about Roger killing a whole species turned out to be incorrect, as the Century Eagle appears and saves the egg. Their adventure over, they sail home on the Commodore's boat, ignoring the fact they killed like a dozen people. But hey, at least they're back to being bird-watching buddies. So, what do I think of this episode? Well, it's pretty memorable, and overall, it's one of my favorites. If I ever wanted somebody to try American Dad, I would definitely recommend this episode. But, like I said, oh my god, I didn't even realize until I started reviewing this episode, it does have a few problems. The biggest are the resolutions, or the lack thereof. With the A-plot, it is pretty sweet watching Steve and Roger sail off into the sunset while they're singing, but I think they needed to give a reason for why Roger was switching sides so quickly. Because in the episode, there literally is no reason he does it. Not even something like, wait, you're gonna kill Steve? You can't kill Steve. Sure, he's been annoying and everything, but that's way too far. It just felt like they had Roger betray the order because the episode was almost over and they couldn't think of anything better. For the B-plot, while I don't think it needed to be major, because, you know, it was a B-plot and it was probably just a way to get the Smiths out of the episode, I think it was a wasted opportunity not to have these two plots intersect. After all, one of the biggest Italian stereotypes is an association with the mob. And guys, Stan is in the CIA. And he has access to as many firearms as he possibly wants. Imagine Steve calls the Smiths and tells them he's kidnapped, or their spaghetti ran out, and then they go to Skull Island guns ablazing, but then the spaghetti wears off and they're back to being normal. Or they think they're going to Skull Island and it's the wrong one. Regardless, this episode has put me in the mood for some eggs. Maybe I can have them with my spaghetti instead of meatballs. Sucks I have the wrong BMI, or I would 100% be open to selling my eggs. Anyhow, have a good Easter or weekend. Bye.
I'll do anything for an egg. What do you want me to do? Kiss a man? I'll do it. The madness drives me to do it, Steve.
Get off my property!
Commodore!